Good afternoon and welcome to our AI Unlocked session. Thank you for joining us today. If you don't know me, I'm Rob May and I'm the founder and the executive chairman here at ramsac. I'm also the UK ambassador for cybersecurity with the IOD, and it was really through cyber that I started my own journey with AI about 5 years ago, where AI is just such an inherent part of the cyber world, both from a defense perspective, but also from an attack perspective. And AI now, of course, is a huge part of what everybody, it seems, is talking about. And today's session follows on from our beginners AI session that most of you attended. And this next installment been designed to build on that and to provide you with more knowledge which you can implement immediately. And whether you're starting to dip your toes into AI or whether you're looking to further your journey, I really hope that what I have to share with you today will be useful. If you've got questions as we go, if I can ask you to use the Q&A function or the chat box functions, and then what I'll do towards the end of the session, we will look to those questions and I will give you answers to those questions. Or if we run out of time, either myself or one of my colleagues will give you a call back to go further in terms of explaining whatever your query was. So let's move on. The thing is with AI right now is I do get frustrated at what I call AI washing. Everybody's at it. You're seeing so many people claiming that AI solves all known problems. I think there are also an awful lot of people who have added an AI to their product because that's cool and trendy. It's not necessarily true. So, and we see it everywhere. I went onto Amazon recently, and on Amazon you get your recommended products. I got recommended the new Oral-B toothbrush with added artificial intelligence, and it's like, where really is AI working in that toothbrush? You look on social media at the moment in terms of any product, any sales proposition, and AI seems to be the answer. And I think what I would urge everybody to do is try and cut through the noise, actually maintain a healthy skepticism. When people say this is AI powered and AI is going to change what you do and so on, be skeptical, but also be open, because I think we are in a truly exciting time when it comes to technology. AI is the latest and perhaps the most seismic piece of digital transformation that we've seen in a very, very long time. And all of us have been through various phases of digital transformation during our careers. The World Wide Web didn't exist when I started ramsac. It launched the year after. The web was digital transformation. Email was digital transformation. The cloud, smartphones, and so on. And to me, digital transformation is about how do we harness technology to make us more productive and more competitive and therefore more profitable. That's what digital transformation is. AI is just the latest flavor of digital transformation, but it's a huge one, and the potential is enormous. Microsoft outline 6 key principles for responsible AI, and that guides both the development and the deployment of AI systems to ensure that whatever organizations are doing with AI, that they're ethical and they're aligned with societal values. And these principles form part of a much broader framework for AI governance. And for those of you who have come to my harnessing AI workshops, you will have started to explore some of that ethical framework for AI governance. And the 6 steps are fairness. So AI systems should treat all people fairly, without bias and without discrimination. They need to be designed to avoid reinforcing existing prejudice, and they should be tested to ensure that they're equitable and have equitable outcomes for different groups. Reliability and safety. AI systems need to function reliably and, of course, safely, ensuring that the AIs that we implement within our organizations perform as intended. When you implement AI in your organization, whatever flavor of AI you're using, you as a business are responsible for its outcome. The supplier of the AI system or the platform isn't responsible, you are. So we need to make sure that we have this peace of mind that we're not implementing systems that could cause harm or are a risk to us in our organizations. Privacy and security is the next one in this 6 steps. This is about protecting data privacy. It's about ensuring security, which is absolutely essential. AI systems have to secure personal data, and they have to comply with privacy regulations, with GDPR and so on, and the upcoming EU AI Act and all of the other legislation that's going to govern what we do with AI. AI systems need to be inclusive. So AI technology needs to be designed to empower and benefit everybody. It's got to be accessible, and it's got to be useful to all of society, basically. AI systems need to be transparent. We need to be, the systems need to be understandable to those who are using them and those who are affected by them. So that involves being clear about how and why decisions are being made within the AI systems. Accountability, those involved in AI development and those of us who are deploying AI need to take responsibility for their systems. Governance and oversight mechanisms need to be in place. And then in the middle of these 6 steps is human in the loop. We don't want to be developing AI systems that are just running themselves. We need to say, where does the human with human experience and awareness, where does the human sit in that loop, and at what point do we interact? And it's worth saying that with Microsoft, every element of AI, and there's AI available from Microsoft in every single one of their products. Every single application from Xbox to GitHub for development and all the rest of it. Every single one of their AIs are called co-pilots, and a co-pilot is someone who sits alongside the pilot. They have no intention of creating an AI which is an autopilot, and I think that's just worth bearing in mind. AI, and this is really important, and people tend to, I've noticed, in fact, I was in the conversation only this morning where someone said, oh, I asked him. And I said, it's not a him or a her or a they. It's not an entity. It's a utility, and we should always remember that AI is a utility. I was honoured to be at a meeting with Microsoft a couple of weeks ago, and Satya Nadella was there, and he made a comment which really resonated with me. And he was saying it's amazing how quickly our use of AI has moved. In technology, we used to use Moore's law, and with AI, you can't use Moore's law. In AI, we use the law of scale, and in the law of scale, the power and the capability of AI is doubling every 6 months. And someone had previously said to me, when I'm using my AI tools, I think of them as a digital foil, which I quite liked. And then Satya said, this quote that you can see on my screen here. He said, I use AI to think with, and I use my colleagues to work with. And I think that's a reality for an awful lot of people, where we're creating tools and we're deploying tools that allow people to have a support network of specialisms that they can interact with and that they can talk with. I've got a GDPR bot, and I've got a HR bot, and a finance bot, and a inclusion and diversity bot, and so on. And these are all bots that I'm able to interact with in order to help develop my thinking. But when I want to get something done and I want to sit down and talk about things, I do that with my colleagues, and I quite liked that. Quite like that quote. I just want to make a comment, because I think this is important, because I think people are getting tripped up about ChatGPT. And one of the things with ChatGPT, so ChatGPT is obviously the AI from OpenAI. It's the most successful app in the history of apps. It went to 100 million users in 60 days. I mean, it's an incredible success story, which most of you will know Microsoft then bought into. But we have AI within Microsoft. We have Copilot and copilots within Microsoft. ChatGPT still exists as a standalone product as well. And I just wanted to draw everybody's attention to the privacy aspect of ChatGPT, because both in terms of performance and also privacy, you get what you pay for. So different people will be on different versions of ChatGPT. And sometimes when I ask people, have you ever tried ChatGPT? Occasionally someone will say to me, oh yeah, no, I tried it and I thought it was rubbish. Well, that's a really strong statement. And my response is, okay, you say it's rubbish. Firstly, what version were you using? Secondly, when did you use it? And thirdly, what training have you had? Because how did you use it? And was the response that you got when you used it the fault of it or the fault of you not using it intelligently? And when we look at the different versions, most people start with the free version. If you think of the free version as a digital assistant, think of it as a work experience person or an intern that is helping you. That digital assistant is 12 years old, and they're very, very keen, and they will do whatever you ask them to do, but they'll get things wrong. Now, they can't be disheartened, but they will get things wrong. When ChatGPT first came to the market, there were two versions. There was the free version and there was the paid version. Now, the paid version is $20 a month. And assuming you license it on the OpenAI website, it would be $20. If you license it through your phone, it will be £20. But actually what's happening there is either Android or Apple are taking their cut on it. So the cheapest way to license this is always at openai.com/ChatGPT. Now, if you're paying for it, it's now a more capable, more intelligent AI, but it's still only 18. And of course, 18-year-olds think that they know everything. They don't, but they think they do. But at least they've been through mandatory education. They're still going to get things wrong. And I always think when you rely on an AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, if you're a Google user or whatever, it will give you a consistent B minus. When you're asking it to do work, it will give you a consistent B minus. Now, it will do an awful lot of work for you. It will do an awful lot of research, but it's you, the human in the loop, that will add your experience and your tone to it to make it an A star. And I think people who have taken the work of ChatGPT as an example and simply submitted it as if it was their own work, put their name on the end of it, actually there are, you know, lots of high profile cases of where people have got themselves into trouble or made themselves look silly. And the reality is it's a B minus. And if you apply the filter that tool, that utility that I've just used is 18 years old. If you'd got an 18-year-old assistant just started working for you and you asked them to do a piece of work, would you simply put your name on the bottom of that work and send it off to your director or your client or whomever it is? And of course you wouldn't, but people are doing that. Now, the thing is, when ChatGPT first came out, there were these two versions. And one of the reasons people bought the plus version, the paid version, was that gave you privacy. And by privacy, I mean that the AI isn't in learning or training mode. If an AI is in learning or training mode, then the information that you share with it can be accessed by other people as well. So ChatGPT said, if you don't want that to happen, you pay your $20. A number of months ago, they bought out the team version. Now, the team version is $25 per user per month, and you have to have a minimum of 2 users. But now you have to have the team version if you want privacy as standard. And lots of people haven't realized that. And I know I do lots and lots of AI speaking and workshops up and down the country, and I know lots of people who are paying their $20 thinking that gives them privacy, and it did, but at the last major update that was removed. And people who have complained to ChatGPT have said, well, we did tell you it was in the end user license agreement, which you accepted when you installed the update. And of course, everybody on this call today always reads the end user license agreement, right? So just be aware. There's then also an enterprise agreement. And I think the enterprise agreement's really interesting. The first organization to take that up was PwC. And PwC have licensed every employee in the UK and the US to use ChatGPT Enterprise. The reason that piqued my interest was PwC are very openly a Google house, and Google have their own equivalent, which is Gemini, and PwC have rejected that in order to use ChatGPT, which I think is interesting. The key thing is to be aware that privacy is part of what you're paying for. Now, if you are on the plus version, if you're paying the $20 and now you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is awful. If you go to privacy.openai.com as a plus user, you can click on this button here to make a privacy request. I still think it's naughty. There's not a setting. In all the other data settings, you click on your initials in ChatGPT and you can control all your data. There's not a setting there. You have to externally go to privacy.openai.com, log on with your prompt, and then you can make a privacy request. That will then make all your data from here on in private, non-learning. However, anything that you shared in between the update and now has been used for learning, and there's no going back on that, I'm afraid. This is really new, and I think this is really exciting. This came out over the weekend. Voice-enabled ChatGPT on the PC desktop, and this is far more than just a feature. I think this is really an invitation to rethink how we interact with our technology. And by putting advanced voice functionality on the devices that we use most for work and our personal projects and so on, OpenAI are empowering users to blend human intuition with AI efficiency, creating that sort of seamless, more natural interaction. And when productivity and adaptability are key within the workplace today, for me, this launch really feels like an essential step in creating AI that meets us where we are and meeting us there hands-free and in a way that's really easy to collaborate. So the ability to talk to it like it's a human, to interrupt it. So when it starts to give you an answer, to go, no, 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 hold on, that's not what I mean, is really powerful. And at the moment, you can only get this if you're using a paid version of ChatGPT, but there is now this desktop app. So download it. The link's there on the screen, openai.com/ChatGPT/download. It was released prior to the PC version on the on Apple Macs, but it's a really good utility that I'm really enjoying and finding really useful, because you can be working on something and it's as if you've got a colleague next to you and you go, oh, what about this? Or I'm just doing a piece of work on this. Do you know what the answer is? And it's just doing it, and I think it's fantastic. Last time on the previous session that most of you came to, I showed you, this is my Windows desktop, and I showed you what Microsoft would do with the preview Copilot button. So this is what they were calling Copilot for Windows, and dependent on what version of Windows 11 you were on, you would have this button here that I've just highlighted for you on the screen. Some of you will still have this on your desktop today. It depends on what version of Windows has rolled out. That button was either there in the right-hand corner, or it was next to the search box in the left-hand corner. Just depended on what version of Windows 11 you were on. And when you click on it or clicked on it, what you got was Copilot for Windows. Now, if you'd got a Microsoft account, so you'd got a Microsoft login, one of the great things about this was you got your green shield, and your green shield showed that any conversation you were having with Copilot was protected. It's not being used for learning or training, and it's held purely within your Microsoft tenant, so your company's domain, and it's not going to go anywhere outside of your company's tenant. And that's great and really powerful, and I was encouraging everybody to use this and saying, you know, how wonderful it is. Microsoft have now stopped that, albeit it's a little bit confusing because there are still desktops who have got it on their desktop, but moving forward on your next update, you will lose that functionality. They've changed tag, and what they've now done is they're moving Copilot into Edge. So they're encouraging everybody to use Edge as your browser app. Again, previously, it's worth mentioning, when they were doing Copilot Pre, what they were encouraging people to do was not just use Edge, they were also encouraging people to use Bing. And within Bing, they'd embedded Bing Chat. Bing Chat was Copilot or ChatGPT within Microsoft. They've stopped that as well. So if you click on Edge, if you go to, first of all, you can go to copilot.microsoft.com. So you could do that on any machine. You could be using an Apple, you could be on any web browser. If you go to copilot.microsoft.com, what you now get is this Copilot screen where you can interact with it. It's all the power of ChatGPT built into Microsoft, and you can add documents and you can ask it questions, and it's really very clever. What I just want to show you here, there's a difference between whether you've got a personal account or whether you've got a paid for Microsoft account. So what I want to show you here, this is my browser on my Windows desktop. So I've opened up Edge, and as you can see here, this is my personal login. So this is not using my ramsac login. What I get is in my search bar, I get search the web. Okay, so if I'm doing a search on here, and you can see the Copilot button in the search bar there, it's just using Copilot power, but to search the web. In the top right hand corner of Edge now, everybody has this Copilot button. And so rather than having Copilot on the desktop, what they've done is they've moved it into Edge, but they've given it way more power. And this is now a really exciting product, I think. So this is me with a personal login, a non-Microsoft login. And when I click on that button, firstly, I get Copilot in terms of Compose. I can ask it questions. I can get it to give me feedback on pictures and documents and all the rest of it. I can also click on this Compose button. And when I click on the Compose button, it gives me, well, you can see here, it says, what do you want me to compose? What type of document? What tone do you want me to use? Do you want it to be an email? Do you want it to be a blog post? What's the length of the document, and so on? And basically, everybody has this tool built into Edge that you can give to your staff completely safely to say, here is a tool that is going to make you more efficient and it's going to save you time. Don't just do it and use it and send it out without thinking, because back to my point earlier, it's giving a consistent B-. However, it's such a fantastic tool to remove hesitancy or just help get people going, get people started. And I think this is fantastic that they rolled this out. Now, if I go back to my desktop and I open up Edge, here I've switched to my work login. So this is my ramsac login. You can see my picture there. What I've now got when I do a search, because I'm logged in at work, it says search the web, but also search ramsac. So now if I ask it a question, not only is it looking at the web for its answers, it's looking at what's called the ramsac Microsoft graph. So anybody who has a tenant in Microsoft has a graph, and the graph, it's not graphical, it's confusing because they called it graph and we all have an image in our mind what a graph is. But the Microsoft graph is all of your data. It's everything that your organization has created in the Microsoft cloud. And now when you do a search in Edge, it's able to not just search the web, but it's also able to search the stuff that has been created within your organization. Now, if I click on the Copilot button on Edge when I'm logged in with a Microsoft account, what I get now is I get a Copilot prompt that will interact with my Copilot on my Copilot license within the office. So I can ask it questions about, when is my next meeting with Sally? And it's going to go through my calendar and it will come back and it will tell me when my next meeting with Sally is. And it will say, you've got a meeting at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then on Friday morning, you've got a meeting with 3 other people and Sally will also be a part of that meeting. So that's a really nice feature too. If I switch to this option, I've got the ability to interrogate documents and files, and it's just great. You can see it's a different interface dependent on how you are logged in. The green shield has gone. And it's worth me pointing that out, because before there was an awful lot of noise and everyone was saying, look out for the green shield. And if you've got the green shield, nobody needs to worry about privacy. Unfortunately, that's gone. And the green shield is now replaced just with a shield. So if you've got the shield logo, which I've highlighted there for you on the screen, if you click on it, it says that Microsoft's enterprise compliance standards apply to this, which means that it's not in learning mode. Here's another new feature. If you're a WhatsApp user, if you scan the QR code, and it is safe for those of you who have heard me talking about crishing in my cyber talks, if you scan the QR code, and you'll get a copy of these slides after the presentation if you want them, you can now add Copilot into WhatsApp. So you can be having WhatsApp conversations with Copilot, and that again is a nice new feature that I'm quite enjoying. Some great prompts. Now I've got everything I've just shown you is Copilot for Windows, which is just built into Windows 11. If you've got Copilot 365, Copilot 365 then integrates more functionality into all of the Office 365 products. And I run Copilot 365, and seriously, the time saving for me, some of my favorite prompts, what should be on my radar from my emails last week. I had last week off for half term, and I came back on Monday and I opened up Copilot and I said, what needs to be, this prompt, what should be on my radar? And it went through all the hundreds of emails that had come in whilst I was off, and it said, okay, these are a priority. You've got a meeting in Leicester yesterday, and the chairperson of the organisation has sent you an email asking some questions that they need answers to ahead of the session. And it went through all of my emails, and it gave me my priorities, in its opinion, of what I needed to respond to. One of the other things that really made me smile was that it also said, you emailed Dan previously and you asked him to respond to you by Friday. He hasn't responded. And having been away for a week's holiday, to have this ability to get this summary, I just thought is super impressive. Summarize Teams messages where name. So when you're putting in these prompts, if you press // then gives you a choice of, do you want to select people? Do you want to select files or whatever from within your system? If you say / and choose people, so you could say here, summarize Teams messages where I was mentioned last week. Equally, you might be having a meeting with a colleague and you might want to do that search and say summarize Teams messages where Fred was mentioned last week, so you get a summary of what they're working on or whatever. Summarize my emails, chats and presentations from last week or last month or 3 weeks ago or whatever it is. Create a to-do list from my Teams meetings on a specific day. So you have a Teams meeting, it creates a transcript of the meeting. You can say, give me a to-do list out of that, and it will intelligently pull that Teams list out. So those are just some of the great time-saving prompts that I'm using on a regular basis. One of the things that I just wanted to draw people's attention to, you might use Microsoft tools, you might not. There are lots and lots of AI tools available, and there's lots of AI plugins available. If you've got a paid version of Zoom, you get the option of an AI agent, and it works brilliantly. You can join a Zoom call where someone's got a paid Zoom license and they've got the AI agent running, and you could join the call late and you could say, what have I missed? And the AI agent will message just you, no one else can see it, and say, this is what's been discussed so far, this is what you've missed. And then you can say, have I been mentioned? And it will go, yes, actually, you were referenced in terms of this. You're right up to speed straight away. Really, really good. Lots of different agents and they have different benefits. I just wanted to share this with you. We had a call with one of our supplier partners, technical partners, and they were using a non-standard, in my world, AI agent. It wasn't a Google or a Microsoft agent. It wasn't Teams or whatever. When the meeting finished, all of the attendees automatically got an email, and the email said, the following meeting notes are AI generated and automatically sent. And this is what was received. So everybody on the meeting, the email said the meeting purpose. It was a technical discussion between the supplier and ramsac. The topics: holiday plans. Jessica is going to Jamaica in November for her first all-inclusive holiday. She's going with her mum and her mum's Greek friends who are heavy drinkers. Jessica's concerned her mum won't be able to set boundaries around drinking. Helping set boundaries. Jessica plans to use this trip to teach her mum how to set boundaries. Her mum tends to go along with things even if she's uncomfortable. Jessica's more assertive and can model boundary setting behaviour. Next steps. Jessica and her mum to go on the Jamaica trip in November. Jessica to help her mum practice saying no, setting limits. Ramsac then joined the call. So all of that had happened whilst the colleagues of supplier X were just chatting. But because the AI agent has been set up to create minutes and to just email them, everything that's said is fair game. And I do think this is worth reflecting on, because how often have you been in a team meeting with the entire team and the meeting comes to an end and someone will say, oh, actually, Lou, can you just hold on because I've got something to chat to you about. So everyone leaves the meeting and you and Lou are still talking, and you're talking about stuff that have got nothing to do with the meeting, but it's being transcribed and added to the call. And I just think we need to raise people's awareness about this stuff. This is why everybody must have an AI usage policy, why you must explain why there's an AI usage policy, why you need to do training and awareness of that. And I really hope that you all have a AI usage policy. If you don't and you want some help and guidance, let us know and we'll share some documents with you. But it's really, really important. But we all have to think that the way that we're using tech is changing, and AI is super powerful and it's making us way more efficient. But there are some unforeseen circumstances and knock-on effects that I'm seeing evidenced and we need to be cognizant of. AI isn't something that you just do, and those of you in this session today are at different stages of your journey, and I'm often asked, how do we make progress? And for me, it's a series of small ongoing steps. AI and your teams need to be helped. They need to be nurtured and it needs to be embraced. And if AI does something and you don't like it, tell it, and tell it what you actually want. So, and that's really important. I had a colleague here at ramsac where we'd done some work and we'd created a bot to assist with a chunk of work, and the feedback that I got when she said that she'd started to use it was actually some of that work was brilliant. And I then took what it did and I went off and I developed it and I made it as I wanted to do it. And I said, you've missed a trick here, because if you'd said to the bot, actually, what I really want is this, or when I ask you to do this, please don't do X, then it will know for the future. Otherwise, just like a member of staff, if you ask it to do something and it delivers a piece of work and you never give it feedback, it's always going to develop work in that way because it thinks it's pleased you with what it's done. So whether you're just about to start with AI or whether you've already started the journey, an absolute key activity is training, and training for everybody in your organization to truly leverage AI. It's essential. It's essential that everybody, not just tech teams, has a basic understanding of its capabilities and of its limitations. And I think that by fostering AI literacy across all departments in your organization, teams can then make informed decisions about when and how to use AI effectively, avoiding unrealistic expectations and possible pitfalls that some of you will already have experienced. And this collective knowledge will empower your entire organization to use AI responsibly and strategically. And we can help you with training for your boards, for your leadership teams, for your technical staff, and general AI literacy for all of your people, because all of those different cohorts all need different AI input and help on this journey. Part of AI literacy is effective prompting. Prompting is how you talk to AI. If you talk to an AI as you would a search engine, you're going to get rubbish results. So effective prompting is really important. And as a useful resource, we've created prompting guides based on multiple different job roles within your organization. And there's 50 prompts as examples for each job role, and you can download as many of these as you want for free just by visiting ramsac.com/prompting. So I hope that that's a useful resource. If there are job roles that we haven't thought of to include, please do let us know, and we'll continue to add to that list of roles and prompts that can help your colleagues within your organization. But beyond education, to fully realize AI's potential, I think we've got to scale it beyond individual tasks. We've got to, as we move forward, we've got to embed it throughout the core functions within our business. So for instance, AI can move from simply assisting in financial forecasting. You might be using Copilot in Excel, for example. It needs to move past that to informing strategic decisions across sales and across marketing, and using these tools for customer retention. And by integrating AI into areas like client engagement and resource allocation, I think that SMEs can uncover insights that truly drive growth and efficiency. And that deeper application of AI creates a unified, data-informed approach that will empower teams to make smarter, faster, better decisions across the whole business. And as you scale up AI, please ensure that you've got quality data and that ethical standards are held as paramount values within your organization. Poor data will introduce biases, it will skew outcomes, and it will potentially lead to unfair practices. Some of you will have seen the Amazon case in the States. Amazon implemented an AI to filter job applications. They get thousands of CVs or resumes every single week, and they implemented an AI to filter through those CV applications. And it came to light that if a job role was at a certain level and the CV identified as being female, the AI was rejecting the CV. And that was based on biases within the learning data that had been taught on based on 10 years of hiring at Amazon. Now, at the time, Amazon spoke out about this and said, this is terrible. We spent all this money on AI, and now we've got this bias problem. And so they made statements about that, which was fine, except what you've now got is 10 years worth of people who have applied to work at Amazon, who were female, who have now got legal cases against Amazon because they're saying, this was unfair and prejudiced. But I think by prioritizing high quality representative data and establishing ethical guidelines, we can all build AI systems that are not only accurate but also trustworthy. And it's an essential commitment to integrity in AI, which fosters user confidence and will help us prevent unintended consequences, just like that example. And it most definitely ties into Microsoft's 6 steps for responsible AI. And it's important that we have a mindset of continuous learning and iterative improvement in using AI. AI, I've already said, it's not a one-time thing. It's not a one-time implementation. And it's really important that we refine the AI tools that we use over time, adapting them as our business needs evolve. Training them, giving them feedback. And I also want to highlight the value of that cross-functional collaboration. So bringing together insights from customer service and sales and operations and so on to find new practical applications of AI that will directly enhance our day-to-day efficiency and long-term growth. Otherwise, I really hope that this has been a useful session. I'm very grateful for you attending today, and thank you for your attention, and have a fantastic rest of the day.